Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to, I believe, part 4 and the last part of my making of creation video. I've actually finished the video already, and I want to tell you a little bit about some of the changes and improvements that I've made throughout the process. First, you see that I've split it into many smaller parts. I've added some extra video overlays here and there. Transfer it across your characters. This is just a video overlay with some specific key points and kind of cool animations, because I wanted to show quickly how and where to get the Section X equipment. These are various parts of the main video, which we remember was about 17-18 minutes long. I cut the pauses, I erased and edited some of my speech. There is a fun text that I would love for all of you to comment on. Most of you probably know my fetish about the black and blue crystals. There is here an overlay coming for a reference that I've made at the end of the video about the Forged Alliance's story arc. I haven't tried it myself. And there is a simple but cool animation, I believe, that I've made to attract and bring your attention to the 4 links or annotations that I will have in the Alliance's story arc, which is very important for everybody to experience. And that's much it. That's how they look here in this preview window, but in the final rendered and edited version, they will look a lot cooler. In the very end, after the video, I have my genuine, normal, long version of my Patreon invitation. And after that, we have the closings with my social links and the links to my 2 YouTube channels. We've all seen these things, they're not exactly new. For a video like that, I've decided to leave the longer invitation to visit my Patreon page. And here somewhere, the huge testing begins with all kinds of rendering attempts. Render small portions of the video to see how they look, render the whole video once and twice. And for a video which is about 15 minutes long, usually rendering on my PC takes about half an hour, maybe an hour, depending on the settings that I'm using. What you're seeing here is my basic settings for a 1080p 60 FPS video. I'm not gonna detailedly explain why exactly I've picked this or that or there and here, because that's not exactly the main purpose of the video. But I will show you what I'm using. I've got presets for a few different resolutions and a few different settings, depending on what kind of video I'm rendering and editing. And currently at this very moment, I'm using these. Most of this is related to the video. I'm always using variable bitrate 2 pass, and target bitrate is about 9 megabits minimum, which grants a relatively good quality for the ready product to be uploaded to YouTube. Now again, YouTube does extra, I don't know how they're called, encoding, edits, and well, smashing, because they're changing a little bit the video quality further down compared to what I have usually on my screen. But it's unavoidable, and after all, YouTube is a home to millions and millions of videos, so they need to do some compressing to be able to store everything here. And the most important fact, which I probably forgot to mention, is my videos are always recorded in MP4 format. It's the best suitable for my needs and for YouTube as well. Now, on to this thing. I've already done the thumbnail. This is going to be the bigger portion of today's video. How I make the thumbnails. This is not an ordinary thumbnail. Sometimes it's a lot easier. It takes between 5 and 15 minutes. In this case, it's gonna take us a bit longer because I've already done it. I like the way it looks. I've added my favorite character from Simpsons. And I will explain you why I picked these pictures, these collections, these specific orders, the texts, and so on. We're starting with one of my many templates. Yeah, I have templates for my thumbnails as well, and I've chosen this one. I have about 10 of them, depending on the type of video I'm working on. We're starting with the title. My title is always here, always with these letters, always with these colors and size of the font. I'm trying to turn this into kind of a recognizable point for my thumbnails. Whenever you see that, you know this is Vulkk. You don't need to read the description after that, or the title of the video, as a matter of fact. Then we have some pictures that I need to import right now. I have a very big collection of random pictures that I have downloaded and prepared. I've tested some of them, I didn't test others, but I generally go through a lot of pictures, mainly found on the internet. You see how many I've looked through. Oh, this is my favorite one. Look at this. Homers, homers, homers. I wanted to use this one, but I've decided against it. Or maybe, where was it? Oh, maybe this one. But I thought, hey, this might offend someone because we're not as dumb as Homer is. Never mind. Going back to the title, so this is never changing. The logo here shows Republic, but who cares? I've been intending to change that, but changing it on 10 templates is a little bit too much extra work, and I've been postponing it more and more. Plus, I don't actually believe many people would pay attention to it. Do you? Now, because I've told you, you can start paying attention. Right, let's start adding some things. First, we have the main background. The main background, where are you, picture? Show yourself. It is from the opening scene of one of the cinematics prior to release of the game, the war on Audition. I hope that you remember that one. It's an official wallpaper kind of picture from BioWare, and I'm definitely going to hide the letters and the borders on top and on the bottom. I'm gonna position it here somewhere. We'll see after that. There are some filters that I may want to edit or may not want to. These filters are here always. This is, by the way, how the default picture would look like, but I like it a little bit more cartoonish because the brighter the colors are, the more attraction it brings. But of course, if I make it too bright, I start losing details. Yeah, I'm not a pro Photoshop user or a photographer, but I do understand just a little bit, enough to make it useful to me, how to work with the colors and everything. Right, next step, I have to use this template, and of course I have to mark it first, then mark this one, and then move it a little bit to the right. You see that we have text appearing. This means I have to stretch a little bit more, probably. Yep, let's stretch a little bit more. I want the castle to be the main picture here. And after stretching, I've realized that from previous edit, I've forgotten here something, which is a part of this layer. And very quickly, I'll just erase it. That's more than enough, I guess. The other two pictures that I'm going to add is this one and this one. It is very, very clearly visible that they are very different in... Come on, get placed already. They are very different in background and in resolution as well, but it's not a problem because the thumbnail is very small. The only big version of the thumbnail is when it appears in your email, if you have email notifications activated when you're subscribed to my channel. It is more than obviously that the background of the one that I have active, the lower one, is much darker, but I'm trying to cover up that in a couple of very simple steps. Again, this is a small thumbnail. 99.9% of the viewers will never see the big thumbnail, and this difference between the yellowish background because of the reflections of the yellow border and the complete dark one will not be such an issue. Maybe I will use that one. I've used it, I've downloaded it just to check it out. Or this one. This is a cool one. I can't remember who made it, and that's gonna be a problem, but it has too much white background in the top, and you see it's not exactly cool. So deleting this one and this one, and I'm gonna stick with the originals because I've already uploaded the video, and at this point it's already available for early access to my patrons on patreon.com. Thank you guys for your support. I guess I've mentioned it plenty of times, but it never hurts to say thank you again. You deserve it. And I suppose I deserve your support if you're doing it. Scaling this, not this, scaling this to cover the whole page like this, and then I have to move it to the middle. It starts to look it starts to look grainy or pixelated, but that's not going to be a problem again, because of the you can imagine the thumbnail is like this size on YouTube, and most of this is not exactly visible. So what I have to do now is rasterize the layer, so I can delete the extra. I can do that with a couple of different instruments. I've just decided to plainly delete it like this. I will never use it again for another video in this composition at least, and I don't need to use a mask or anything else. Right here we can start using the pencil because it's bigger and it will help me do it quicker, like so. Zooming back out, very visible how much darker this is. I won't stop repeating it because it's true. Next step, I can delete actually this layer. It's a template for my episodes for some of my series, but since I'll never use it, I can just delete it and not take up extra space here. I can do the same for this one and for this one. Right, we want the text in the middle, but that's not important. This text will go through a lot of editing, change of font, change of overlays, and so on. What I have to do now is quickly make another layer and just strike it like that and like that. The color is not exactly the most important thing, but at the moment I actually like it, and you see that it's actually a top layer at the moment, and I don't want to be a top layer. So what I will do is move these three right here above these curves and brightness contrast changers, because if I move them below, you will see they start looking, wow, it's actually not bad. Let's leave them here. They will be affected by these filters. That's what I meant. These filters would affect anything below. This is just a background which I almost never use. It's a darker background. And we're going off with the title. Well, I forgot the Homer. Let's put the Homer. The Homer is a PNG with no background. Thank you for whoever created it. Very helpful. And I'm gonna have the Homer here somewhere. Just one moment. Like so. Well, positioning is relative, we can decide that later. And very quickly going to cheat by checking and reminding myself what the hell did I do with this one. The title, which contains kind of a hint, big text hints with what's the video content. It's not one big title because the video ended up being a collection of tips and tricks on various topics. And I wanted to check the font first. I need to check the font. Brady Bunch something. It sounds familiar. I'm supposed to know what Brady's Bunch is or where it's from. And just pasting it. Oh, come on. If I can't paste, I'll just type the beginning. And then we have to type whatever it is. Basic comps usage, fleets, vendor. Let's see. Gear for leveling, and last is tips. And if I misspelled it because I don't see what the hell I was doing, I can very easily correct that later. Scaling it down a little bit. I like the fact that Homer is covering a part of it, but I don't want him to cover most of it. I want tips, tricks to be visible, and his head is finally sitting there on top of and. I believe that's fine. What we'll do next is, what do you think? Is it the same? It's a little bit bigger actually. And it has capital letters, that's cool. I forgot about the capability of having capital letters with this specific font. So let's make the best of it. Usage, and then tips. and tricks. And what do we have as an end symbol? Oh, that's not good one. And I won't bother replacing it with another one right now. Not really worth it. Now I think I want the homer a little bit down. And possibly a little bit more to the left. Yep, like that. I need to move this layer more to the left. This thing usually is kind of a background play thingy, but right now it's serving like something like a very simple table or a hard area on which homer is lying. It's just a pretension. Right, basic comms, usage, fleets, vendor, gears, gear for leveling, you dumbass. Gear for leveling, tips and tricks. Next step is going to the extra filters and effects that I have added. You can see this is the default text with absolutely nothing on it. Well, actually, why not go through this? I won't explain how exactly I've done this. It's a template I mentioned to you. I edit these things sometimes, but most of the times, most of them I leave untouched. So I'm using stroke because I like the black border around the letters. It makes them come clear on top of the background picture, whatever it is. Sometimes it's black, sometimes it's not. The gradient overlay is what we are going to change any moment now. And the drop shadow is absolutely invisible at this point, but it doesn't hurt to leave it on. What I want to do with this is, I know that I don't want it to be reversed, and I want to change the colors. I've decided to make it gradient, and let's see, we're going to make it blue to red. Which blue I'm gonna pick doesn't really matter because this is a tutorial video and I've already made the official template that will be displayed. So even if it's not the exact same blue, I can live with it. And what I can actually show you is when you're here picking color, you can go back to the picture and select some of the blues that are available. Unfortunately, there are many tones of blue here, and sometimes you might select a darker one. Wow, this is almost black. And other times you can select something very bright. It's entirely up to our decision and the way we like it. We can change the angle in which these things are reflecting. I'm doing it blue and red to reflect the blue and the red on this top right corner and also on the emblem. The picture behind the emblem, I can animate that and I can make it be transparent, but that's a lot of extra time for actually no real advantage gained because of the size of the thumbnail next to the video. If I want to do, I can just find another picture of the emblem or two emblems and combine them myself. It's not a very complicated process. Or if I wanted to, I can just erase this background from this one here and make the real background appear, because you see this same castle is this castle over here. And if you look into this as a detail, you will see that it's wrong, but in this size, it's not exactly visible, right? And that's my method with these yellow borders. Very simple borders. I could use strokes, the stroke effect like this one. On the letters, I could use something similar here, but I've decided to do the more simple thing and just make another layer and draw a couple of lines on it. This is pretty much the template. If you see here on all of these, I have specific effects animated, like for example, these little white-ish effects on the borders of the darker spots. Yeah, Homer looks very pixelated, do you think? And open up the effects for this one. Hide the effects and you'll see it's a lot more simple. The effects that I've used many of those, but I didn't leave all of them active because apparently I didn't like all of them. There is no point deleting them. It doesn't hurt for them to remain here because for the next thumbnail I might decide that I want them. And this is kind of the finished product. You see, it's not exactly the same as the one I'll be using because I insist to have the blue on the left and the red on the right to reflect exactly the positioning of these things here. These are the 8 main character stories. This is actually from the official website. And in this one here, I didn't choose an appropriate gradient. I need to make it, what was it? 3-colored one. and then you have a blue, a red in the right corner, something like a red, whoa, not pink. And then in the middle, if I remember correctly, oops, I choose something like a very near white grayish. And if I reverse it, let's see, linear like this, and then again I can change the angle to whatever I want, but this, something like this, is as close as it can get, because it's always random, to the original thumbnail that I have already uploaded to the video. Thank you very much for staying with me. This went for quite a while, damn it. Well, I hope you managed to watch the whole of it and you found it interesting. Thank you very much for watching the whole series. This will be the final part 4. There won't be any more. If it turns out to be a success, I might start uploading tips, tricks, and tutorials on my second YouTube channel about Premiere Pro and how I use it. But this one was specifically designed to show you guys that it's not exactly a very simple work to make a decent video. And yet, most of the things I used for this video and for these tutorials are very simple. They don't involve extra plugins, and they can be done with minimum effort from a very experienced Premiere Pro user, which I'm still not. I've been using it for about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. I don't remember exactly when I started, but I've learned a lot, and I'm self-taught. I've been watching tons and tons of videos, reading the internet and everything. Let's cut it right here. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you with the next one. Don't forget to like, favor, subscribe, share, and everything else that I can come up with. As many buttons as you find around the video, and on top of it, click on them. Except for the dislike one. It's a bad button. Bye bye, guys. My Patreon campaign is an absolutely voluntary and optional way for you guys to support and back me up. By becoming my patron and pledging monthly any small amount, you're directly helping me pay bills and purchase hardware upgrades. Depending on your contribution, I have a special reward for you: early access to videos, behind the scenes materials, and special in-game items. Thank you for considering becoming my patron. Remember, you can find me also on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. For my non-Star Wars activities, I invite you to subscribe to my second YouTube channel.